If you've been running Google Ads for more than 5 days or even 5 minutes, you've probably noticed that while your campaigns keep getting smarter in a very short time, your control keeps disappearing. I'm doing this video to shed some light in the case where search ads charges are influenced by the impressions, and now more and more about audience signals. It is very obvious to most of you. It's not a new thing, but it's the less discussed when analyzing how Google forces changes and how we optimize for our results. This concept, I'm aligning my video with Google's latest evolution, AI Max, and why it represents the final form of a 25-year strategy to turn your advertising budget into their behavioral surveillance goldmine. AI Max is not much different from what we had prior to May 2025 when it was launched with broad match technology, dynamic search ads, etc. But looking it from afar through time, then another story unveils. This isn't just another Google update. This is the culmination of the most sophisticated manipulation of market dynamics in advertising history. And if you stick around, I'll show you exactly how they did it, what it means for your business, and most importantly, what you can do about it. This is an extra piece of the video I didn't intend to do, but it happened with a very demonic coincidence. 3 months ago, I started writing the article which is based for this video. And a few days ago, European Commission fined Google with almost 3 billion because of the monopolistic tactics they made, which I'm about to explain in this video and the article I have also on medium.com. So stay tuned. When I think about things evolving with new features, I think Pokemon. And you know what else keeps evolving? Google search ads. If Google search ads were a Pokemon, they would start it as Eevee, beige, furry, and innocent looking. But here's the thing about Eevee. It has endless evolution. And Google just dropped the latest evolution, AI Max. But this isn't Eevee becoming Vaporeon for water attacks. This is Eevee becoming Espeon and gaining psychic powers to read your mind, predict your behavior, and control your choices before you even make them. The question is, are you the Pokemon trainer in this relationship, or are you just another NPC in Google's game? Because after 10 plus years of running campaigns and analyzing Google's every move, I can tell you this evolution didn't happen overnight. It's been planned since day one. Let me take you on a journey through Google's most ambitious long term strategy. 25 years ago, Google launched AdWords. The pitch was simple: highest bidder wins, clean, transparent, predictable. 2000, pay per thousand impressions, CPM, basic display advertising model we all know. 2002, pay per click launches, revolutionary at the time. 2005, here where it gets spicy, quality score arrives. Google said it was about user experience. What it really was, the first systematic data grab. They took what should have been a simple auction, highest bid wins, and introduced a quality component that only they could measure. Suddenly, your bid wasn't enough. You needed Google's approval of your relevance. 2010, location targeting gets granular. Now they're tracking where you are. 2012, enhanced campaigns force mobile and desktop together. Less control for you, more data for them. 2016, smart bidding launches with machine learning promises. Every evolution had the same pattern: promise better results, require more data access, reduce advertiser control, increase dependency on Google system. Every click, every impression, every interaction became data points in Google's growing behavioral profile database. They turned your advertising spend into their surveillance infrastructure. But the real genius wasn't in what they were collecting, it was in how they were conditioning us to give up control. Here's where Google's psychological manipulation gets sophisticated. They took click through rate, which was just performance feedback, and transformed it into a pricing mechanism. Think about how insidious this is. Your ad performs well, great. You get rewarded with lower cost per clicks. Your ad underperforms. Google uses that poor performance as justification to charge you for future opportunities. They created the perfect business model. Take the outcome of your advertising spend and transform it into the basis for what you pay for future opportunities. Your success became Google's pricing justification. Your failures became Google's revenue optimization. But it gets worse because while you're optimizing for their metrics, they're optimizing for something completely different. Internal Google documents revealed during the Department of Justice trial so that when Google talks about user experience, they're actually talking about revenue per search. When they talk about relevance, they mean conversion probability based on behavioral data. You think you're playing a game about advertising effectiveness. Google is playing a game about behavioral prediction and market control. And every interaction you have with their platform teaches their algorithms not just about your customers, but about how to manipulate your bidding behavior. The feedback loop isn't just improving your ads, it's training Google's system to extract maximum value from your budget while giving you the minimum viable results to keep you playing. By 2016, things accelerated with smart bidding. Google called it automation and efficiency for modern marketers. What we got was less control and more data extraction. Then came what I call the great hiding. Search terms 50 to 80% of actual search queries hidden from advertisers. Google claims privacy, but you can't optimize what you can see. And we got performance marks, campaigns that show you results but won't tell you how they got them. It's like being told you got an A on a test but not being allowed to see your answers. Broad match evolution went from close variants to whatever Google's AI thinks might convert, often meaning completely unrelated terms. Smart shopping. Forced migration from shopping campaigns you could control to automated systems you can't, all justified with the same playbook. Privacy protection while Google maintains full behavioral access. Better performance with obviously almost no way to verify the claims. AI optimization where the optimization goal isn't disclosed. Google created what behavioral economists call a false choice architecture with two options. Option A, keep manual control but sacrifice results because you can't process data at Google scale. And option B, get better results but hand over all control to Google's black box systems. This isn't choice. This is manipulation designed to look like a choice. The brilliant part, they convinced advertisers that transparency was the enemy of performance, that knowing what your ads were doing would somehow make them work worse. But then something unprecedented happened. The Department of Justice antitrust trial exposed Google's internal communications, revealing not just market dominance, but active market manipulation. The court documents were a nuclear bomb for anyone who suspected Google wasn't playing fair. Project Momiji, Google artificially inflated bids across the platform, causing 15% price increases industry-wide. Internal communications talk about shaking the couch cushions for revenue through algorithmic tweaks, invisible to advertisers. Think about that phrase, invisible to advertisers. They were actively working to hide revenue extraction tactics from the people funding the system. The squashing algorithm. Google created personalized reserve prices for different user types based on predicted lifetime value and behavioral patterns. The same click from the same person could cost different advertisers widely different amounts, not based on competition, but based on Google's assessment of how much they could extract. CPC manipulation. Search ad costs more than doubled between 2013 and 2020, not due to increased competition, but due to algorithmic changes designed to maximize Google's revenue per search. Behavioral data weaponization. Google used cross-platform data from YouTube, Chrome, Android, Gmail, whatever, to create user profiles for ad targeting, then claimed advertisers needed to bid higher to access premium audiences Google had created using data from the other monopoly products. The court found that Google doesn't just run ad auctions, they actively manipulate auction dynamics through behavioral data advantages that competitors cannot match and advertisers cannot audit. Judge Amit Mehta wrote, Google has maintained its monopoly in search through a series of actions that demonstrate a clear intent to harm competition and extract monopoly rents from market participants. Google had evolved from a search engine into a behavioral surveillance apparatus disguised as an advertising platform. The Pokemon analogy was more accurate than I realized. This wasn't just evolution, this was genetic modification designed to create the perfect predator. Enter AI Max in May 2025 after the Department of Justice ruling. Instead of backing down, Google doubled down with their most aggressive evolution yet. Three pillars of total control. One, keywordless matching using behavioral AI. Traditional keyword targeting is being replaced by Google's AI determining what queries should trigger your ads based on user behavior patterns across all Google's properties. You bid on running shoes, but your ad shows for workout motivation because Google's AI detected behavioral correlation patterns. Two, dynamic creative optimization. Google's AI doesn't just choose when to show your ads, it writes them in real time. Your ad copy becomes a starting template that Google modifies based on user behavior, search history, and conversion probability. Every user sees a different version of your ad. 3. Final URL expansion. AI chooses your landing pages based on its interpretation of user intent and conversion likelihood. You create a campaign for product A, but Google shows ads that lead to product B because their behavior prediction says that user is more likely to convert there. Your traditional cost per click is now calculated based on cross-device behavior patterns, phone, computer, smart TV, YouTube engagement and watch history, Gmail and Google Workspace usage patterns, search history sequences and timing, real-time conversion probability scoring, location-based behavioral modification, user-specific quality gauge, and auction mechanism. CPC is no longer cost per click, if it ever was. It's a cost per qualified behavioral impression opportunity where qualification is determined by Google's algorithms analyzing data you can't access. We've gone from EV to Espion, and Espion can read minds across multiple dimensions of your customer's digital life. But mind this, Google claims this is giving advertisers better results while simultaneously making it impossible to verify what better means or how it is achieved. Now, Google's marketing department is working overtime to frame AI Max as a privacy first innovation that's not just misleading, it's a deliberate smokescreen. Let's break down the privacy theater. The claim AI Max protects user privacy by not sharing personal data with advertisers. The reality Google maintains complete access to personal behavioral data across all platforms. They just don't share their raw data with you. They keep the targeting power while claiming privacy protection. The real issue privacy isn't about protecting users from advertisers, it's about Google protecting their competitive advantage from competitors and regulatory oversight. Most professionals around here are soft on this because Google is a corporation that cares about its return. But on the other hand, do we have alternatives? And if so, how close to Google are they in terms of owning the web? As Search Engine Land noted in their analysis, the argument that this is privacy protection doesn't hold because all search data has always been anonymized to advertisers anyway. What's changed is Google's willingness to share aggregated insights that would allow independent optimization. Translation Google gets all the behavioral targeting benefits while claiming they're doing it for user protection. The genius of this strategy users feel protected even though Google has more data access than ever. Advertisers cannot audit performance justified as privacy protection. Competitors cannot understand market dynamics hidden behind user privacy. Regulators struggle to prove manipulation, data access restricted for privacy. It's psychological jiu-jitsu using privacy concerns to justify increased market control and reduce transparency. The cognitive dissonance is intentional. Google wants you to feel good about the privacy stance while accepting reduced control over your advertising spend. Remember, this is the same company that was just found guilty of manipulating ad auctions for revenue extraction. Their sudden concern for privacy might have more to do with hiding the market manipulation than protecting user data. The advertising industry response to AMAX has been fascinating, and by fascinating, I mean completely predictable. The early adopters, agencies with major Google partnerships, immediately started promoting AI Max as revolutionary and the future of advertising. Notice how their analysis focused on potential benefits while gaslighting, ignoring transparency concerns. The skeptics, performance marketers who actually analyze results, started documenting inconsistencies. Campaigns showing improved performance metrics while actual business results declined. The trapped, small and medium businesses who can't afford to lose Google's reach, forced to accept reduced control despite worse ROI visibility. But here's what's really interesting: the timing. Google launched AI Max just months after the Department of Justice ruling, almost like they're racing to cement behavioral dominance before regulatory remedies take effect. The meta message: you can break us up, but we'll make ourselves so integrated into market dynamics that separation becomes impossible. Industry publications have been largely positive, but when you look at who's funding those publications through advertising, well, let's just say financial incentives create editorial perspective. So, where does this leave us as advertisers, marketers, and business owners? The Department of Justice is proposing remedies, potentially breaking up Chrome and Android, forcing Google to license search result data to competitors, creating oversight mechanism for ad auction manipulation. But Google's racing to make these remedies irrelevant by creating total dependency on their behavioral systems. As advertisers, we face a strategic choice that will define the next decade of digital marketing. Option one: total acceptance. Embrace AI Max, accept reduced control, focus on outcomes rather than understanding. Many agencies are recommending this approach. Option two: active resistance. Diversify traffic sources, invest in own media, reduce Google dependency. Difficult but maintain strategic control. Option three: informed participation. Use AI Max but with independent verification system. Demand transparency where possible and maintain pressure for regulatory change. I recommend option three, and here's your action plan. Audit tools that work with this. Marketing mix modeling to validate AI Max performance claims, server-side conversion tracking to cross-reference Google's attribution, cohort analysis to identify behavioral pattern manipulation, competitive intelligence to understand relative market position, verification strategies, A/B test, AI Max against manual campaigns on small budget segments, track customer lifetime value independently on Google's conversion tracking, monitor organic search performance to identify cannibalization, document cost increases with business outcome correlation, leverage points. Demand transparency as a condition of increased spending. Support regulatory initiatives that require algorithmic auditing. Invest in alternative platforms while they're still competitive. Build direct customer relationships that reduce platform dependency. The key insight: Google's power comes from information asymmetry. The more you understand their systems, the less they can manipulate your results. Here's the bigger picture that goes beyond just Google Ads. AI Max represents the final evolution of surveillance capitalism, the business model where human behavioral data becomes the raw material for predictive products sold in behavioral future markets. We're not just talking about advertising anymore. We're talking about the architecture of choice in digital society. When one company controls 92% of global search queries, the dominant mobile operating system, the largest video platform, the most popular web browser, the infrastructure for measuring advertising effectiveness, they don't just have market power, they have reality shaping power. AI Max isn't just changing how ads work, it's changing how businesses understand their customers, how customers discover products, and how economic value gets created and distributed in digital markets. The question isn't whether AI Max will improve your campaign performance. The question is whether we want one company to have algorithmic control over economic opportunity distribution in the digital economy. Because every time we optimize for Google metrics instead of our business outcomes, every time we accept better performance without understanding how it is achieved, Every time we choose convenience over transparency, we're voting for that future. The Pokemon analogy breaks down here because this isn't just a game. This is the infrastructure of modern commerce, and the rules are being written by the house that always wins. But here's the thing about evolution it requires environmental pressure. And we, the advertisers, the marketers, the business owners, we are the environment. We get to choose what evolves and what goes extinct. So here's my challenge to you for the next 30 days audit everything. Track your AI Max campaigns against independent metrics. Document the correlation between Google's performance improvements and your actual business results. Ask uncomfortable questions. When Google says your campaigns are performing better, ask better at what? When they optimize for conversions, ask optimize according to which definition of success? Demand receipts. If AI is making your advertising more effective, there should be clear, measurable business outcomes that you can verify independently. Support transparency initiatives. The advertising industry needs algorithmic auditing standards, just like we have financial auditing standards. Remember that you have more power than you think. Google's entire business model depends on advertiser participation. Every dollar, every euro you spend is a vote for the system you want. After all, even Espion, with all its psychic powers, still needs a trainer who understands that Pokemon battles are supposed to be fair fights. Share this video if you think advertisers deserve transparency. Drop a comment with your AI Max experiences, both positive and concerning. Subscribe for more surveillance capitalism breakdowns that actually matter to your marketing budget. And remember, when someone promises you better results but takes away your ability to verify them, that's not evolution, that's domestication. The question is, are you ready to stay wild?